I'm going to record this locally though, so I can re-upload it tomorrow if the connection is bad. So let's just get right into it here. A lot has happened in 24 hours. And because my internet connection might be crap, I'm going to let Jake just start us off. So can you give us just kind of a sit rep of what's been going down?
Man, so I am going to do this without saying anybody's name because everybody knows who we're talking about. Everybody knows the controversy that has been associated with this person lately on a local level, and everyone has had suspicions. Everyone, I mean, even people that are close to him have been like, maybe that's not. But some people have reserved their opinions and their judgments until there were facts. And recently, I probably learned about it maybe a week or so, maybe more ago. Some facts have shown up. I talked to a witness today, just a little bit ago, who had the video footage of this situation that has happened. First off, I hate it. And when our podcast that we recorded a couple of days ago finally drops, you're going to hear me say some things that are going to kind of come to fruition here. But I hate the fact that cheating is a thing that happens in kayak tournaments, but it's almost unavoidable. Because when you put the amount of money out there that we're putting out there, people inevitably are just going to take advantage of it, and they got to do whatever they have to do to help themselves win. I'm gonna get to some other things with that too, but it's an unfortunate aspect that we need to figure out how to safeguard from happening. But I will give everyone. I'm not going to talk about the names of the person that I spoke to. I promised that person that I would not do that, but I'm going to give some intel as to exactly what had transpired a few months back in June. So the person who cheated, went to New York to the St. Lawrence River around the time that those fish would have been on beds. Up on the St. Lawrence, and they went up there to do some fishing during the spawn. The individual showed up there, and they were there for a week. There was a group of people. They were there for a week. The person who cheated showed up with a plastic kayak that was can I say that the plastic kayak was stolen?
We can say that much. It was stolen.
Okay.
And we'll leave it at that.
There was a stolen plastic kayak that the individual showed up with. However, that kayak was cut in a section that suggested that individual was ready for a kayak fishing tournament. However, he just didn't have a kayak. He was on a boat, a motorized boat. Anybody that knows kayak fishing knows that that's wildly against the rules. But that individual went out onto the St. Lawrence River with intent to intentionally defraud everybody else that was in that tournament. During the week that individual was up there, there was some video footage that was created by the accused cheater. The individual wore a GoPro on some accounts, and that footage belongs to somebody right now that is not the cheater. That individual caught around 20 to 30 fish per day, and about 5 to 10 of those were 4 to 5 pounders. If you know the St. Lawrence River, that's probably not far-fetched, right? That's probably a fairly accurate statement. So that person was on average, measuring in about 5 to 10 fish per day for the time that they were up there. That person bragged about cutting up the kayak prior to the event. And the brag was that, well, I didn't know that I was going to be up here in a boat, and so I figured that I could just cut the kayak up since I wasn't going to be in the boat. That's what was conveyed to me. There was some scuttlebutt that came out about this individual potentially having a falling out with the person who owns this video footage. That necessarily wasn't the case. During the time that they were in New York, the individual was like, "Hey, I don't necessarily agree with what you're doing." And from that point, that person distanced themselves from the accused cheater. What happened after that will come out at a later time from this eyewitness. And I don't want to say anything more to that because it could identify that person before they are able to talk about it themselves. And I want to give them that opportunity to talk about it themselves. Here's what I can tell you about my suspicions about this person who has been caught cheating at this point. This is not the first time. This is not the first time this person has done this. Whether ignorantly or not, this person was DQ'd from a previous tournament for some things surrounding breaking the law. There's been other assumptions that this individual may have been cheating in other ways in online events or other type of remote events that weren't in person. I actually have evidence via screenshot that I'm going to hold on to that suggests that this individual does fish sometimes in a quarry, which is illegal. That's private property. And I mean, we have enough video and camera footage to determine that this individual has no problems fishing within 100 feet from a lowhead dam. So at this point, there's not a whole lot else that we can say about this person. And I feel like the focus should be focused away from the person that cheated. And as a collective group, we have got to figure out a way to fucking stop this from happening moving forward. Because if we don't stop it from happening moving forward, kayak fishing will not exist. Because you can't come out here and pay people $10,000 if there's not some way, some method to stop these avenues for people from cheating. We have got to figure it out as a community. We've got to figure out some way to safeguard it. And I say we because my heart's still in it. I love to kayak fish, but this is not fun to talk about this every couple months. This is not fun to have this happen right here at home for us. This ain't cool, and we got to figure out a way to stop it from happening. What says you, Thomas?
Well, first thing is I just switched back to my internet provider. So again, I deeply apologize for being late. I was in the middle of Virginia with my wife. It was her day. I was with a okay. This was,
buddy, can you hear me?
Can you hear?
You got to switch back to whatever you were on before.
Oh, delightful. Can everyone else hear me okay out there in the everyone else hear me okay? Anyway, so Thomas, your internet is all broken. Jake, you good? Okay, cool. Fantastic. This is just what I adore so much, is internet being what it is. Luckily, I'm still recording this thing locally, so it'll be re-uploaded tomorrow, and Antietam will go away. But anyway, I'm sharing my screen. If Jake, can you see my screen now?
I can, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, guys. Thank you, Elon Musk, for backup. This is what was going around. This image right here. Do you want to just kind of elaborate the visual again for the people that are now tuning in?
Uh-oh. Nope.
Just kind of elaborate the visual again for the people that are now tuning in.
Uh-oh. Nope.
Just kind of elaborate the visual again for the people
Thomas is having some technical difficulties here. So while Thomas is trying to figure this out, I don't have anything to share to my screen, but we got to get this stuff to stop. We can't keep having this happening. Tournament trails, directors, we have got to figure out a way to safeguard these types of things from happening. Because if we don't, we're going to lose what we have. So I'm really hoping Thomas comes back, because I am not the face of fishing the DMV. I'll get his whole podcast ruined here in a second if he don't come back, because I might just start blah, blah, blah.
It's like 500 shows. Like this night, we decided to have this content. I know it is what it is. If you can see the picture,
huh?
Can you see my screen?
No.
That's wonderful.
There it is.
Perfect.
There it is.
So is this the
It's really hard to hear you though, buddy.
Oh, fantastic. Take it away with the screen.
So the fish on the top photo there was a fish that was observed by somebody on social media, I believe. Going to try to get the story as correct as I can. So they observed that fish and then later compared that fish to something that was seen in Tourney X, in a Tourney X submission. And that's where this all started. If you look at the fish and you can kind of make out the patterns are very similar. You see I don't know what fin it's called, but the back upper fin there, how there's a curved pattern, and then there's another curved pattern on the fish on the lower section. It specifically, like, it's very identifiable there with that pattern. Also with the stripe directly adjacent to it to the right. If you look at the tail fin right at the very top where the tail fin, meets up with the scales of the fish, there's a red mark right there that's very identifiable. It's very similar. There's also some things on the bottom section of the fish that are just identical to the top and bottom photo. That fish on the top, he took that photo with that, the boat in the background. You can see that there's, the bottom floor there. You can, whenever that fish is blown up, you can see the motor. So he was clearly on the back section of this boat. And then if you blow the bottom photo up, if you have the largest version of the bottom photo, you can actually see, I don't know if you actually have it on that cutout there, Thomas, but you can actually see the serrated edges of the plastic on one occasion on that fish. This was just a blatant just disregard for the rule of the tournament. This is despicable, really, is what it is. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't want to focus on the individual. I want this to be a deterrent for other people to do it. There is zero reason why we need to cheat in a fishing tournament, especially like any fishing tournament, but we're talking for like not a lot of money. This was an online fishing tournament. Come on. What are we doing? Why are we chasing clout or this desire to be accepted? You're going to get caught. If you do this, you will get caught eventually. You might get away with it for a little bit, but you're going to get caught. This has to stop. It cannot continue. There's some other photos, Thomas. I don't know if do you have all the photos?
Send them to me, and I can. How I didn't know that I turned my camera off. Hopefully, it's better.
It's a little better.
Again, this will be uploaded. I don't have any about that. It's recording locally. I know. Of course.
I'm sending you some photos here, buddy. I don't know if you'll be able to see them or not, but
all right. Well, oh my God. Well, I don't know if we can that one. Is there one in particular you want me to share? I think
the first one I sent you was just funny because it was
here. Can you see it?
I don't see anything up there yet.
Give it time. All right, cool. Can you see it now?
Let me go on to Facebook and see if it's up.
Yeah, this has just been.
Yeah, people have said it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah. What's going on here? I drove at like 95 on 81 to get here. This is fantastic. The landmark. This is a good question here. Some right now.
Yeah, there's on Facebook. There's one comment on Facebook that I can see says it's funny. The one photo that was uploaded to 20X clearly shows that the kayak was cut. I agree with the previous comment there about, the physical landmarks. When we're talking about sections of this river that may be off limits or not fishable water, we need to come up with physical demarcations, right? Allowing anyone to identify what 100 feet is just leaves a lot to be interpreted.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, for tournaments on this river where there's low head dams, I feel that there is an easy way to do it. It may not be a popular way, but I feel like the Sunbury pool of water should just be out of play, because you get too close to the north end of it, you're too close to the dam. You get too close to the fish ladder, you're too close to the fish ladder. You go just downstream and you're not very far off from the Selinsgrove Lowhead Dam. So if you just make the Sunbury pool completely out of play, you're dealing with a 3/4 mile, not even, maybe a half-mile stretch of water. So that's how you fix that. You come downstream of the Selinsgrove Dam, and there's a power line that goes across the river, and it's well downriver of the 100-foot demarcation line. That needs to be the line. When you get to the Harrisburg area, you need to make the last cutoff the railroad bridge. The railroad bridge just below City Island needs to be the physical demarcation that you cannot go below. And when you're down, beneath the Dock Street Dam, it needs to be the southern side of the 83 bridge. You cannot go any further north than the southern side of the 83 bridge. That's the way that you fix this on a local level. One thing we're not going to be able to do is keep people from maybe putting fish in a cage or doing something like that. That's where we're still coming back to, we need something we need some method to say that this is not like this is not going to happen, because as the money goes up, people are going to do dumb shit. It's the nature of humans. They're going to do dumb shit. And if we want to preserve what we have to figure out a way to keep the accountability.
100%. Comments being able to apologize for the qualities this evening. Allegedly, it's being a pain, so maybe it's just the internet. But anyway, Doug Spatch just came across here. This story is unfolding as we speak. There is probably more information that will be coming to light once it's allowed to come to light in the days going forward. I guess the best way I can tactfully put that.
Yeah, I don't feel that it would be smart for us to speak about the details of that kayak.
Correct.
Outside of the fact that maybe that it was just not obtained legally.
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize. 500 episodes, and then tonight's the one that this shit's the bet on. So I'm going to remove my camera, and hopefully that will help a little bit with the old connection there.
It does. So it did.
It did. All right, thank God. So anyway, the host, I can go on. I'll let Jake talk.
It's back to being really rough again.
All right. Well, I'll let Jake talk, and then I'm gonna pull out back in. Let's see if that helps.
Let's throw some comments up there, man. Let's get some people up here that want to.
Can you see it?
You know, yeah, I can see the comments on a small there. You know, what is everyone's opinion? You know, how do we fix what we have? How do we fix this in a way that it's something viable for people to do, and not have the cheating involved? Because there's been some level of controversy with almost every single tournament that we've had here locally on the Susquehanna River. Is it a Pennsylvania problem? Like, are we the cheaters? Like, I don't know. Is it something that we have that it's? I don't think it's just local to here. I mean, you see everywhere all across the country where people are doing some things, but what can we do? What are the ideas that we can make this more honest? Because it's largely one of the main reasons why I stepped away from it. It's not just kayak tournaments. I think that there's going to be cheating in any level. Page on Facebook says, major respect to everyone not allowing this, not accepting this. Makes it hard for someone like me who doesn't fish tourneys to even want to fish a tourney. And that's right. That's a big concept there. Think about somebody who has not gotten into tournaments yet, that's been looking at it, and then all of a sudden they see all this stuff. That's not going to make them want to do it. Yeah, there's a lot of it going around. Fix it by doing exactly what you're doing, talking about it, bring it to the light, doing our part, self-policing, helping out the tournament directors. Steve, that's a very valid concept. That's one of the reasons why Thomas and I both decided to jump on here. I think to some degree, the tournament trails and the people that support the tournament trails bear a very large responsibility for the accountability aspect. When you have someone who puts a vast amount of money into a tournament series to make it lucrative and to make it something that's really nice to participate in, there's got to be pressure, right? There's got to be pressure from those people to say, hey, this is my money. This is my business name. I don't want my business name attached to this, this level of cheating. Right. So we have to have, I think we have to have some sort of sponsorship pressure as well. Make a video of CPR and see you or tethered to your kayak with. me make this big. See if I can make these bigger. With face visible, I agree with the boundaries you just mentioned. I mean, I think, the boundaries obviously those are going to change depending on where you're at, right? Like, not every river system's the same. Obviously, what the boundaries that I spoke of are just for here, but I feel like if you make physical boundaries, it makes it a lot harder. Official check-in that will show your kayak, etc. I think the picture was questionable with the position of the seat. No way you take that. Yeah. So be callous. I agree. And so I want to agree with you in a way that doesn't alienate the tournament director, but there's really not an easy way for me to do it. So I'll just rip the Band-Aid off because you brought it up. If I'm on the St. Lawrence River and I see that a fish was submitted from the St. Lawrence River, I can tell that kayak is a sit inside kayak. Especially if I'm an experienced tournament director, I'm probably going to question that photo immediately and be like, how are you not inside your kayak? How are you not sitting in that sit inside kayak? Requiring everyone to have GoPros for a $50 entry fee tournament would probably be difficult. I think the other issue with that, Finn, is, you run into the areas of service. You think about this aspect right now. Thomas is at home and his internet sucks. So, what happens if that internet fails, like, and that person wins? What if they're fishing in an area where the internet's not good? Do you run into those issues? It's crazy that he took it to this extreme, especially after being accused of cheating. Just absolutely blows my mind. Alex, not just that, but doubling down and being as cocky as he was online to almost everybody. That's crazy work. There needs to be an app that is connected to the scale, so when the fish is weighed, it gets logged in live via LiveWell. That's you might be onto something there, Michael. It's bad when it gets in the local papers, not just kayak deaths on the Susky, but also some cheating. Some that should have not been covered in the past. It took about 5 minutes of realizing, one, that's not his normal kayak, and two, those fish uploaded match what wasn't caught on the kayak, right? Cheating. Thomas is cheating with his Wi-Fi signal. Listen, we need to. I don't know if the horse ate one of Thomas's routers or something. I have no idea. Like, I think the horse might have been feeding on his optical or on his fiber optic cables or something. Sure, we can sit here and call names, or not call names, but we can sit here and point that out. But, again, it comes back to the fact that I don't even want to give this person the nod of talking about who they are. They don't deserve to be recognized for doing this. Collectively, as a group, we need to figure out how to fix it and talk about ways to fix it, and reach out to your tournament directors and say, hey, have you thought about this? Reach out to your software developers and say, hey, is there a way to do something like this? And take that viable idea. How, bro, did this take 5 months? Did the guilt weigh on
I'm back.
So I want to talk about something real quick. The people who did or did not report this isn't their fault. Like, they weren't competition. They weren't competitors in any of these tournaments. The fact that we even know about this information is because of them. So the timeline in which it was done, I'm not focusing on. I'm not focusing on the people who did or didn't report it in a timely fashion, because everyone has their reasons. Let's be grateful that the fact that it's not still information that we don't know. Paige, you're right. He's going to get roasted, and honestly, I hope for his sake that he has a good support system around him, to help him through this, because it's not going to be easy. The whole community is turning. The whole community now sees what it is, And I hope that he has a decent enough support system around him to manage through it. Yeah, and undercover baits. Look, we are sitting here talking to a bait making company that is skeptical or less optimistic about sponsorships coming in, because as this happens more and more and more, people are not going to want to attach their names to it. Yeah, sponsors do. You're right, Bronzeback. Sponsors do not like to see this kind of stuff. Yeah, JL. I've heard him referred to this today at some point as just lies, which was comical. But
can people hear me, or should I just shut up and let Jake finish out?
We can hear you just fine. I'm tired of talking anyway. Let's hear what you have to say.
I know there's been a lot of stuff with me in this whole ordeal. I am tournament director of 1 year, starting, I guess it's 1 year this October. I have a Patreon. Basically, they help keep this podcast going. Because I have a few sponsors, I make a little bit of money on YouTube. I was going to give back and have Patreon tournaments, basically local club membership tournaments. And he was fishing one of my tournaments over the summertime when all this went down. And there was a lot of drama with that. And after talking to Scott and also Jacob, there was some thought process that there might be lawsuits involved where he would sue tournament directors, either with help from other tournament directors or himself or whatever, based on what happened over the summertime. With this in mind, I just lost my job about a month ago, and the idea of then also being involved in a lawsuit for kicking him out of a tournament scared the crap out of me. And it all came down to this court date that he had in the fall. And so I let him continue to fish that tournament. October around the tournament starts. I couldn't backstop the big purses that I usually have because I don't have the job to help backstop it. And so I made the decision to try to we're going to compete for plaques. He immediately quits the club, says some interesting choice words to me, and then he goes about trying to find every member of the club and reach out to them to quit. And once that happened, I felt like I was in my right at that point. That is an open place. This all now, he went to his court case, and allegedly, because I wasn't there, the game warden didn't show up, so it was thrown out. So he was acquitted of that, but he was still kicked out of my group.
Time out. Let me just stop right there. Being a case being dismissed and being acquitted or found not guilty are two completely different terminologies. So
that's why you're here.
No. Please continue.
No, that's why my lawyer's here. But yeah, so that's kind of the whole ordeal I had with the whole Jacob thing going on. So I decided to just let everything roll and not make a big public scene out of all of it. Because I figured eventually something was going to end up happening, which, it looks like this did. Cheating is always going to be there. It really is. And I don't know, which is funny because later this week, a good audio podcast episode with Jake will be dropping with good audio and video.
Thomas, I'm calling you. This will make it easy so you can turn off your mic and then talk.
Oh, great. So hopefully this is a little bit better for everybody.
Hold on a second. Let me make sure we're good. Say something.
Hello. Yeah, that's a little weird.
Well, turn off your mic on your end. How about now?
Is that better?
Can everyone hear him now? It was like every other word you were getting out there.
I think guys do this recording on a mixer, and so the audio reality will be fine.
Oh, that's not working any better.
No, it's not.
Okay. Turn your mic back on.
So dropping later this week with you on it, and we kind of just talk about in general, in more depth about cheating in general and stuff, and it's something that's just always going to be there. That you can do about it. We just got to do a better job as a community coming together and making sure we send just stuff, and also just making better laws, honestly, on the books for tournaments and what have you. Like Jake, you alluded to earlier, to kind of nip as much of this in the bud as humanly possible, and if this comes out like it already has in the future, we just got to drop the hammer on it and just to try to help call this out. But it also comes down to culture. We just got to do better. Like, is cheating worth it for $100? Is it worth it?
I think the other thing too we need to talk about is that, you know, the anglers who are competing in the event, if you see something, it is imperative that you report it immediately. Yeah. You have to report it immediately, because a lot of these tournament entities don't have a very lengthy protest period. And, you know, on top of reporting it, you know, you need to take the opportunity to collect any like legitimate evidence that you have as well. Because these tournament directors who are not there, you know, they need to have something, right? They need to have something to go off of. I think another option, and this would be more cost on the tournament entity that's running the event, but having multiple drones and drone pilots out there flying up and down the river is a big deterrent to you know, have someone cheating. You know, I hate the idea of having designated launches for kayak fishing tournaments, but hell, at this point, like you almost have to identify which launches are legal and which launches aren't. It's just, I don't know, man. There's so many things that we need to do, but as a group, as a community, we need to make sure that we're holding everyone accountable. And that means all of us, because there might only be one or two tournament directors, but there's 150 anglers. So, yeah.
I'll try to share it. Hopefully people can hear it and re-upload. Again, guys, I apologize. This is literally the first time in 500 times this has happened. But let's see. Ross, where's the fish, everyone? Vic, you had a good one here. Thomas, I doubt the cheating for the money. It wasn't. It was for the fame. It was both. I talked to him over the phone because he only fished. I have an Excel spreadsheet that I made of every time he had a fish broken down by the amount of money on the line. And I'm going to be posting that here soon in the next couple of days. It's quite funny that no matter how many people were involved, he had almost a 90% chance of winning. If there was almost no money involved, he had like a 60% chance of winning. So it's interesting that if you increase the payout and the competitors, his potential of winning went up, not down. Statistically impossible. I don't care if you're Kevin Van Dam or whatever, you don't have a 90% winning. And this kind of coincides with that. He truly was in it for the money too, and not just the clout, in my opinion. Because otherwise, I just, the way he talked about it, he used this, especially when you can double dip in kayak fishing. I would be interested to know how much money he's actually collected or pocketed from this, because it's not nothing. But that's just my thought.
Yeah. I want to make sure that as a group also that we're not, you know, let's try to avoid attacking the other people involved in this, right? Let's try to avoid attacking the people who brought this information to light, the people that did their due diligence and did the research and stuff like that. Because I know these people, and we're talking about some good folks. We're talking about some good human beings that chose maybe not necessarily to defend, but chose to reserve judgment until they had facts on a lot of things. Understand that not everybody is like, you know, coming with the pitchfork to get you. some people can sit back and analytically think about it and collect a lot of data and evidence before they form a decision. And then once they form that decision, then things like this happen where this protest is brought up and said, hey, something's amiss here. We don't find out about that information if we attack the people that report it. And if we attack the people that report it, then it's going to make other people not want to report.
Mm-hmm.
Vic, I don't think they can, for this particular incident in New York, which is the only thing that we have truly concrete evidence of. I don't think that that's something that he would see jail time for. As a matter of fact, I know it's not. I don't believe the money is enough to reach the threshold of a misdemeanor or felony crime. If he were caught cheating and say like the Bassmaster event that's worth $10,000, that is absolutely felony theft by deception, because you're looking at a very high dollar amount there. Could a summary violation be brought on this individual for this, smaller theft? Yeah, but it wouldn't involve any jail time. If anything, what I would personally love to see is an opportunity for this individual to get maybe the help that they need, because obviously when you have a pattern of history with this kind of stuff, you're talking about potential issues there that maybe are outside of what the judicial system can help with. Maybe he needs some counseling on how to handle these situations with this kind of stuff. So maybe that's an option that I would love to see happen. But, do we need to hold them accountable, or does the system need to hold them accountable? Yeah, because that's going to deter other people from doing it. But no, there's not going to be any jail time.
I'm just it's just because of this again, as radio, and I'm catching myself now every time someone is successful. It's like in the back of your head. Again, I'm talking about those voices you get, like, well, did this guy do it correctly? And I keep catching myself. It's like, it's kind of depressing that I'm there, and maybe it's just because I'm a terrible person. Who knows? But you start questioning that, because all you hear about is constant things like this. And then you look at the boater side of things. I know at Smith Mountain Lake, there was a massive issue with people finding fish traps on Smith Mountain Lake. That's not kayak fishing. That's probably boaters, potentially.
Right.
It sucks. I mean, it really sucks that when I put on a tournament, I am now worried about who could potentially be cheating. And you feel like I personally feel a piece of shit, because now I'm going down a dark rabbit hole because it's happened in the past. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just kind of burnt out on tournament fishing, honestly.
Yeah. It's sorry, man. My phone's been blowing up all freaking day.
Really?
I've had to plug her in a couple times today.
Only yours? No, but it's been crazy. I don't know. It's been going on for so long at this point with this whole ordeal. And part of me is glad it's like over, hopefully, knock on wood, and we can just move on as a society. And I'm going to say something that's going to sound wild, and this is my hot take, so everyone can leave it. Same thing with school. All right, hopefully I'm not demonetized. We're shut down now. If you glorify them, I feel like there's a chance you create more of them. And I feel like in this situation, it is move on and just don't talk about them. I think that there's a weird blend of that,
While you were gone, that was one thing that I brought up. The individual does not deserve any more notoriety for what they did. Like, we need to not speak that person's name.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that need to know that person's name are the tournament directors. So if he ever tries to enter another tournament, he can't. Like, that's the reality. Because we just needs to be a deterrence. Somebody said you need that boat seat. Thomas needs that boat seat so he can win some money and upgrade the internet.
I do. I honestly do. Yeah, guys, like, this will be re-uploaded. Hopefully, it won't have too much of an issue. I have a bunch of people. We have Scott just spamming the chat with band monthly. The thing is, just make them cheap. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, don't put on monthlies that have so much money that people are willing to cheat. I mean, it's not a silver bullet, but I'm gonna be real. I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, "I like monthlies because it scratches an itch. I can do it when I can. I don't have Saturdays off. I have 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there," and people enjoy that, and I think that's perfectly fine. But like I said, I don't know what the answer is.
The other thing though with the monthlies, and I would hate to see monthlies banned, because when I was a novice kayak fisherman, the way that I entered kayak fishing tournaments was through monthly tournaments. My first ever, first grip of tournaments was monthly tournaments.
Yeah.
And it's a learning tool. It teaches you, a lot of things about how fish are measured and the requirements and the things that you need to make sure that you're doing in those monthlies to be successful. I would hate to see that go away, because it's almost like that takes away the learning ground for these new novice anglers. And guess what? The people that do this for a long period of time, the people that are involved in these tournaments that are, often successful, those people need, and we talked about this in the podcast, those people need these new people coming in, because if you don't have the mass numbers, you don't have the payouts. So you don't want to take away the entrance or the open door to allow people to get into the sport.
I 100% agree, but I also don't like this also knee-jerk reaction of like, let's ban, let's adjust. I'm hopefully at some point I'll get on the guy when I have better internet with the nice individual who runs Tourney X to talk about this, because there's an issue. I think we talked about this on the show that will be uploaded this week. The AI photo that happened, and a lot of people want massive changes, and I think there's an argument on both sides, because it was caught in time. And so you just rely on the app, Jake, like you need good people checked it. Like it was a tournament director, I believe, that was able to backstop it and figure it out. So I don't know.
Yeah,
this was just so elaborate too. I don't think most people go this.
Well, I saw somebody posted on Facebook today. The size of this dude's balls, he needs like a fucking wheelbarrow to roll these bitches around. You know what I mean? Like some fucking cojones. Like to do this.
To be a sociopath?
Like, I mean, bro, like, like that's, you got to have like some serious, well, to do this. Like to do this, you have to have.
Thank you, Bronzeback. Yeah, I know. It's been one hell of a day. I don't know what is going on with my internet tonight, but it is what it is.
Do you want to table this for another day until we can get this figured out? Because the Steelers start to play in about 15 minutes.
Sure. I will figure this out, and I'm going to be yelling at some people at Antietam tomorrow. Tomorrow, guys, we will have Jakes. You got to get your name and your last name. You got to call yourself Stan.
I changed my title on Facebook. It still says Jake Harshman, but it says not Jacob Hausman. I think I labeled myself on this podcast as the real Jake. Sorry, I just got a message. I can't. Oh God. Oh. Yeah, moving on. Oh, that was bad. I'll send that to you, Thomas. I'm sorry.
Good boy. Closing thoughts. We're gonna try this again. Hopefully, we can get a couple people on. We can do a roundtable this week. I'll go somewhere, get good internet if we can't get this figured out. What a wild
I'm
year.
sorry.
What an absolutely wild year, man. Let's see. MAKBF needs you. Oh. Well, that's
Ooh.
cryptic. Bros, I hope you're not talking about me because I am not tournament directing anything else. I don't like being an alcoholic, and being a tournament director has turned me into that. So I am not talking about me.
No, I don't know. I mean, I do want to say before we hop off here, if you're thinking about entering kayak tournaments, if you want to do a monthly tournament to learn how it's done, explore fishing the DMVs, right? Understand that it's a good learning tool. Don't be afraid to get into it because as much as we've had, issues, I do think the vast majority of everyone involved is good, honest people. But let's make sure we hold each other accountable, and let's make sure that we are reporting things in a timely manner, reporting accurate and detailed things. And let's I'm sorry.
And I think what we recover, and hopefully you can hear me here. This is I think important is we just got to figure out a better way to also witch hunt. I feel like fishing, and I'm saying this now is bad because this was a legit thing, but we like to label everybody as cheater. We like to accuse people publicly, and it's make sure you have good evidence before you start going on social media and stuff. Again, this is the case where 100% it was true, but what you don't want to see is somebody unbuckle their life jacket and they get DQ'd, which they should. But then we start throwing on social media that they're a cheater or that they're this and this, and then we ruin somebody's life. Like it's so dicey. I think like just make sure you have the goods before you start pulling the trigger on that stuff, because social media right now with all this stuff, everyone is so quick to just ruin people for better or worse. So again, that's tasteful right now with what just happened, but let's all calm down and not start having two fingers for our fellow anglers out there. Because day is on bye-bye, and because my internet and Starlink is shit, I'm going to bid this adieu for now, and then I'm going to for tomorrow. And guys, thank you so much. Sorry for the internet, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located